Welcome everybody to District 55's Fireside Chat, a pre-conference activity starring our very own Lark Doley, Distinguished Toastmaster and past International President. We are excited to have Lark with us this evening. She is going to spend a little bit of time telling us about her leadership journey, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. So if you have a question for Lark, please feel free to type it in the chat or send it to me via email. And with that, please help me welcome Lark Doley, past District Governor of District 55. She was our very first district governor in District 55 when we became a district. She has also served as a region advisor and past international president. She is known as the Golden Lady, and we are excited to hear Lark's story. Lark, please take it away.
Thank you, Madam District Director. It is golden to be home with District 55. My journey may be the longest journey in Toastmaster history, from becoming a member of the organization to becoming the president of the organization. And that is because when I joined Toastmasters in 1990, first of all, I joined to improve my communication skills. I was an entrepreneur. I had a fledgling company. I wanted to speak persuasively to male investors. So I joined to improve my communication skills. I knew nothing about the leadership opportunities in Toastmasters when I joined in 1990. I learned about them fairly rapidly, though. But my journey in Toastmasters actually began before 1990, when a member of my team at Texas Instruments invited me to the Texas Instruments Toastmasters Club. I'd never been to a Toastmasters Club, and she invited me to come to their meeting. I went to their meeting and I was called upon to answer a table topic. If that wasn't terrifying enough, I was the first person to be called to answer a table topic, and I had no idea what a table topic was. I fell on my face, flat on my face, in answering that question, and no one ever contacted me, followed up with me to tell me that Toastmasters is all about learning, and that we all fall on our face, or many of us do, the first time that we answer a table topic. I felt that I had failed in Toastmasters. And then in 1990, another member of a community club invited me to go to a community Toastmasters club meeting. I said, oh, no, I've already failed at that organization. I don't need to go back. And then he asked me, what do you mean you failed? You can't fail in Toastmasters. I told him the story, and he said, no worries. In our club, as a guest, you will not be asked to answer a table topic. And by the way, if you are asked to answer a table topic, I will throw myself on the floor in front of you and not allow you to go to the front of the room to answer the table topic. I thought about that. I thought, wouldn't that be fun to actually see him put himself flat on the floor in front of me? So I actually thought maybe they will ask me a table topic and I'll be able to do that. They didn't. But at that Toastmasters meeting, one of their members was giving her icebreaker speech. Now, my understanding of my icebreaker speech was that it was the first speech you give in Toastmasters. She gave this flawless icebreaker speech. Again, my thought was, you need to be a perfect speaker before you join this organization. So I was discouraged again, but this time I spoke with the member who invited me, and I said, was that her first speech in Toastmasters? He said, oh no, Lark, that was her third time going through the CC manual. And I said, could somebody have mentioned that when they introduced her? And he said, I'm sorry. But I finally did find a home at the Today Toastmasters Club. They were a young club. They had only been organized, chartered for about a year. And I found my home there, and I felt very comfortable there. But another sidetrack, which is fascinating, is that David Brooks was competing in the World Champion of Public Speaking in 1990. And the club I had visited actually sent me a message that they had chartered a bus. And if I would like to join them, all I needed to do was pay them $40. And they were driving to Dallas the morning of the speech contest, attending the speech contest, and then coming back on the bus. Would I be interested? I said, absolutely, I would be interested. So before I was even a member, I had the opportunity to see the World Championship of Public Speaking and see David Brooks win that in 1990. Now, I will say I joined Today Toastmasters the following week, and I actually gave a non-manual speech. Don't tell anybody. I gave a non-manual speech about attending the World Championship of Public Speaking. That's how my journey began. But I will tell you, I never, ever, ever anticipated becoming president of this organization. And that was really through serving in leadership roles, stopping, serving, stopping, serving, stopping. It was a progression. And I'm just so honored to have served our organization truly in almost every leadership role in the organization. Back to you, Madam District Director.
Thank you so much, Lark. Now comes the fun part because I get to ask you questions, essentially coming full circle for some table topics.
Right.
All right, are you ready?
I am.
The first question that I have was submitted by one of our members, and they would like to know why you've chosen gold as your signature color. You're known throughout the world as the Golden Lady, and everything is golden in your presence. So tell us why you've chosen gold.
I would be honored to tell you about that. And it actually began with the district governor of District 56, who was known as the Red Hot Mama, Distinguished Toastmaster Jean Riggs. She wore red everywhere she went. And that gave me the idea of a color theme. But what happened when I decided to run for Lieutenant Governor Marketing, that was the name of the current role, which is Club Growth Director. When I ran for that, my campaign theme was Share the Gold of Toastmasters. And I had Hershey's gold nuggets and I had chocolate gold coins, and I wore gold to symbolize the benefits of Toastmasters, the value of Toastmasters. And I truly believe that the value of Toastmasters is more priceless than gold. That began the journey of gold. The next year, I ran for Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, and it was an Olympic year. And so I had the theme, Go for Gold, and literally Go for Gold stuck. I began wearing golden outfits and bringing gold nuggets, gold chocolates everywhere I went for every Toastmasters event. And people just began to expect that. It seemed like a good theme, and I've just carried it with me forever because I truly believe in the priceless value of our organization. That's how it began.
That's wonderful, Lark. Next time I see you in person, I will expect some chocolate in the form of golden nuggets. That's just put
there
that
we
on
go.
your list. All right. We teased a little bit on our website that there are a lot of things that we know about you, but some things that maybe people don't know. And one of the things that we mentioned first on our website is that you live in a lighthouse. Tell us about your lighthouse home.
Oh, thank you for asking that. I do, and it is pictured behind me. My husband, Roger, was from England, and his father came to live with us in 1994. His father had served in the Royal Navy during World War II and loved any body of water. And interestingly enough, my husband loved beaches and oceans and seas. He loved to go vacation anywhere that had a beach. But my father-in-law loved the sea, and we began collecting Lighthouse memorabilia for him. In 1997, unfortunately, he died. And after his death, Roger and I were traveling to a business convention in Boston. And after we went to the convention, we decided to go to Portland Head, Maine, because we had purchased a beautiful print of Portland Head, Maine Lighthouse for Arthur, and it had hung behind his bed. We drove to Portland Head, Maine. We saw this incredibly picturesque lighthouse, and one of the oldest lighthouses in the United States. We were so inspired by it that when we went to the airport, to Logan Airport, we bought a book on lighthouses, on the lighthouses that are in the Northeast. And Roger looked at me and he said, "Why don't we build a lighthouse in Arthur's honor?" That's literally how it began. It took us a while to find a piece of property that would actually allow us to build a 72-foot structure, but we found one and we built it. And now, after my husband's death in 2014, it now really stands in honor of both of them. But my husband was a general contractor on the lighthouse, so he built it in honor of his father-in-law, and now it's in honor of both men whom I adored.
That's fantastic. That's really neat. I hope that everybody gets a good look at your picture behind you because it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, Lark, I have another question from our members. You have been attending virtual conferences at districts all over the world, but we know that you've also had the opportunity with Toastmasters to travel to many of those countries and attend various events on behalf of the organization. The question from our member is, would you tell us about a memorable meal abroad?
Oh, I could tell you about many. I will have to start though with the fact that our Chief Executive Officer, Dan Rex, will eat anything. When he travels around the world, he tells all of the members of the districts where he visits that they can feed him anything. I did exactly the opposite. I told them that if they wanted me to be healthy and to be able to present at their conferences, they needed to be very careful about food and make sure that there was nothing that would make me sick. But I will tell you, in Malaysia, I believe it was, they had laid out this buffet, and one of the members was saying, "Oh, Lark, you need to try this," and "Oh, Lark, you need to try this." Thankfully, Ed Tate was also present, and Ed Tate said, "No, no, no, Lark, you do not want to taste that. No, that could make you sick. That could make your stomach very upset. And tomorrow you might not be able to speak at this conference." So I was very grateful to Ed Tate, I will tell you. And anytime I see Ed Tate, I thank him again for not allowing me to eat something that would have made me sick. But yes, and beautiful food. I will tell you, Peking duck, and just unbelievably wonderful meals in most of the countries, in many of the countries. Yeah. So, but yes, I told them, don't feed me anything that's going to make me sick. I'm not Dan Rex.
So, I don't know if you've seen it, Lark. There's a list out there that you're supposed to check mark as you travel around the world. Things like eating Hungarian goulash in Hungary, eating Swedish meatballs in Sweden. That's not going to be one of your goals?
Now those actually sound fine. It's the other strange things. Oh, what is the name of the fruit that is just horrible? I cannot tell you the name of it, but it is horrible, right? You can smell it a mile away and it is terrible. and they thought about giving me that fruit. And I said, don't you dare, please, come on. I'm traveling for 9 weeks. I need to be healthy along that entire 9-week journey. I feel so incredibly blessed. I truly was the last international president that has had the opportunity to travel. I traveled for 9 weeks. I went to 9 countries. It was phenomenal. But due to the pandemic, I was the last president who's had that privilege. Yeah. Now we can travel globally through Zoom, though, and I hope all of you are taking advantage of that, because who knows when that will end. And it is our opportunity, just like our president, to travel to 145 countries. Now is the time to do it.
Oh, somebody typed in the chat, durian fruit. Is that
Yes,
the name of the weird?
That's it. That is it. Correct.
My next question for you, Lark, is if you could speak to someone who is a regular member of Toastmasters, what would you tell them to encourage them to step into leadership, and why should our members step up into leadership?
One of the beautiful things about our Pathways program now is that it integrates communication and leadership, except in the 2 paths, presentation mastery and engaging humor. And what I would say to anyone is that when we sign the Toastmasters membership application, virtually or otherwise, we agree to serve as a club officer when needed. But I truly believe that we lead every day of our lives, because the simplest definition of leadership is influence. And I believe that you and I influence people every single day. We do it through Zoom, we do it in person. If we smile at someone, we have no idea the impact of that smile. If we say a simple thank you, if we acknowledge an individual, we truly have no idea what impact we may have on that individual. And likewise, we can have a negative impact on individuals. The bottom line is we are leading every day of our lives, at home, at our places of work, within our community. So I say you're already in a leadership role. Why not learn effective leadership in a supportive environment, the supportive environment of Toastmasters, just as you are learning to improve your communication skills? And you can lead at any level of this organization that you choose. You can lead just at the club level. And if that's as far as you want to go in leadership, then you can stop there. But I will tell you, I will still say that my favorite leadership position in Toastmasters is area director. The area director role has the opportunity to visit clubs and learn from clubs. I hadn't visited other clubs until I became an area director. It was area governor then. And I visited each club in my area and learned how unique each club is and how they can take the same program and implement it differently. I loved the differences in each of the clubs. And then I became a division governor, now known as division director, and saw the depth and breadth of our program from that position. I believe that leadership in Toastmasters is just like communication. We can learn effective leadership skills in a supportive environment. So when we are leading at our work or in the community, we'll be more effective and more productive. And hopefully we'll be promoted due to our communication and leadership skills more rapidly within our career. So I think it is the opportunity of a lifetime, supportive leadership to improve ourselves.
That is a fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Lark. And you actually covered another member question who we were asked what your favorite leadership position is. So we got a 2-for-1 there. You just anticipated where we were going. The next member question that I have for you is, what is the most memorable speech you've ever heard and what made it unique?
I have heard so many memorable speeches. That is one of the blessings of attending Toastmasters Club meetings, is being inspired at every club meeting. I have certainly heard world champion speeches that have been incredibly inspiring. But again, one of the benefits of being a member of a club and being a member of multiple clubs and visiting clubs around the world is to be inspired at every single club meeting. The first speech that inspired me truly was David Brooks' World Championship speech. And it was called 3 Silver Bullets. And I will never forget that. 3 silver bullets. Too bad they weren't golden bullets, but they were silver. But then the World Championship speech that was given at KL, at Kuala Lumpur, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. I think that one is so memorable also, because all of us need to tell people what we see in them. I would not have served as international president if every step of my journey, someone hadn't said, Lark, have you thought about being area governor? Have you thought about being division governor? Have you thought about being a conference chair? Have you thought about running for lieutenant governor marketing? Have you thought, if people had not encouraged me, I never would have become the Toastmasters International President. There's only one leadership position in this organization that I wanted, that no one had to say, do you want this role? And that was region advisor, because by then I progressed enough through the organization. When that role became available, I knew I wanted to serve in that role, and I applied for that role. But when I went to Kuala Lumpur and someone came up to me only 4 months after my husband's death and said, what are you going to do next? And I looked at them blankly like, next? There is no next for me. And they said, Lark, you have so much more to give, that I thought about pursuing second vice president. So again, if no one had approached me in Kuala Lumpur, I never would have done it. So I'm so grateful. And I say to each of us, it is our responsibility. When you see leadership potential in people, tell them you see it. And when they say, I don't see that in myself, say, I know you don't see it, but I see it. And that should be enough, right? I know you can do this, and I'll be there every step of the way to support you. And that's the other opportunity, is that people said to me, if you do this, we will support you. Nothing better than that. We all need to be mentors, and we all need to be mentors simply from the perspective of telling people what we see in them. Yeah.
Oh, Lark, when it comes to seeing people, it has been one of my great pleasures to watch you in leadership. You've been a fantastic example to me when you probably never even knew. And I still tell people all the time that Lark Doley is the person who will show up at your area contest and help serve refreshments or set up the chairs, because she is a servant leader and she just looks for opportunities to be of service. And that has been just an incredible example to so many of us. But the event that I want to talk about, Lark, was a specific conference that I attended, and you were the facilities chair. And as we got into the conference, now I was an area governor that year. And so I was running around, running errands for people, hey, can you do this? And, oh, of course I can. And off I'd run. At some point, the sprinkler system went off and our ballroom was completely flooded. And you, as the facilities chair, again, by example, showed such amazing leadership qualities. You took charge of the situation. You made alternative plans for our events that were scheduled in the ballroom. You worked with the hotel management. And as I recall, you were pretty tough with them. You drive a hard bargain, woman.
I was. I think that's why that hotel will probably never have us again. So I will say that because they couldn't serve us in the ballroom where they were supposed to serve us, I thought we deserved a discount. So I was pretty high pressure about getting that discount. But yes, I will never forget that. Yes, a flood. People say a flood, not a fire, but a flood. I say no, a flood. As they were pulling back the dividers for the room, the hotel staff accidentally hit the sprinkler head. And of course, it immediately began dumping water in the main ballroom. We could not use the main ballroom. So I did work with the staff and said, okay, where can we serve the banquet? Where can we conduct the contest? And they did accommodate as best they could. We did hold the banquet in their restaurant. So we pulled together all the different tables and chairs that we possibly could. And then the largest room that they had available, that's where we did standing room only for the contest. So yes, that will definitely go down in my memory as, yes, the most adaptive to a bad situation. But yes, everybody said, flood, not fire, flood. Yeah, people just couldn't believe it. It was interesting.
Somewhere I have pictures of that ballroom with a good 2 or 3 inches of water on the floor.
Yeah.
I had to traipse across the room to retrieve our contest trophies that were underneath the lectern at the front of the room. And so I took that opportunity to snap a couple of pictures with water all over the floor.
Oh, I would love to get those. Send those to me.
But you know, my question, Lark, was you exhibited so much grace under pressure and so much flexibility while still maintaining that professional line. And I just wondered if you would talk a little bit about the idea of keeping your cool when things get hot.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you, I think I did well at that, and I don't always do well at that. That is something that I struggle with, and that is the calm demeanor. And it is very, very important as leaders that we maintain that, and that we maintain that under fire, that we maintain that when we're being criticized. So it is important that we maintain that professional demeanor at all times. We are a model for the organization, so we do need to do that. And of course, there are times when I might go back up to my room and scream, right? But when we are in that environment, it is important to do that. I sometimes count to 10. I think about the alternatives and how we are going to have to adapt in order to meet the challenges. It's interesting because when I served as president, I thought we had a challenging year of changes. But of course, I had no idea about a pandemic world. And that was very, very different in the challenges that we had to face. I think it is that we do have to stop and realize that we are in a leadership role, and that requires our professionalism. And we need to do as we say in Toastmasters, and that is listen, think, and then speak. Very important that we do that. I will just tell you professionally, in my last position at Maximus, my manager was the model of that. And I always, in every supervisor's training, talked about him and how he was the model for calm demeanor. I mentioned on multiple occasions when he would certainly have had the right to not model calm behavior, and yet he maintained that calm demeanor. And that I always, whenever I'm upset, I think about Tom Kemple, and I realize that if I can model his behavior, I will be golden.
That's excellent. Oh my goodness. Some of the crazy things that we find ourselves dealing with in this organization. And, you know, it really prepares us for the crazy situations in life, right?
It does. I'll just mention something briefly again about the flood, since you brought that up. the hotel could not turn off the water. It had to be turned off by the fire department. And that's why the room continued to fill. I kept saying, can't you turn off the water? And they said, no, we have to wait for the fire department. But I said, there's no fire. Doesn't matter. They're the only ones allowed to turn off. Yeah. So
Oh my
amazing.
goodness. Lark, because we have you here, we have the opportunity to ask you some of the tough questions. So let's talk about how you balance your Toastmasters leadership roles with real life.
Fascinating that I retired on March the 31st after I served in my final year on the board of directors, right? Fascinating, yes. I think it's a matter of prioritizing. I also say that it is a matter of teamwork. As the president of the organization, truly, I partner with the world headquarters staff and I partnered with the board of directors. We had committees on the board of directors, just as hopefully districts have their teams or their committees. It is a matter of prioritizing. And let's face it, we have families, we have careers. We have to balance the time that we spend on our nonprofit pursuits with those that we spend with our family and with our job. When I became an officer of the organization, I no longer was married because Roger had passed away at that time. So I didn't have as many family obligations, although I adore my family and my grandchildren, but I didn't have as many family obligations then. So I truly had the career and I had Toastmasters. I was very fortunate that at Maximus, they value Toastmasters. Also very fortunate that my manager had been a charter member of the Maximus Toastmasters Club. So he also knew all about Toastmasters. And literally when I asked him to be gone for 9 weeks, some managers would have said, 9 weeks? Really? But he was so kind to say, all right, 9 weeks. We'll work it and do everything you can before you leave in order to make sure that as much of the job that you do is done. And then when you get back, you'll pick it right back up. And that's exactly what I did. So I was very fortunate that at work, I had that support. And I know that some people say they do not have that support at work. I find that discouraging, disappointing. And what I would say to individuals that don't have that support at work is I would say why and what can we do to help them gain that support at work? Because I want everyone to have the opportunity to serve in whatever leadership roles they want in this organization. And I want their management to support it. So if there is anything that I can do in the future to help District 55 in approaching those corporations and talking with them about the value of Toastmasters and the value to their employees, I would be absolutely honored to do it. But I believe it's setting your priorities, and it is certainly assigning time to the tasks that you need to do at work and that you need to do at Toastmasters, and then just making sure that you're not shortchanging your family either, so that you do have that balance. And remember, in district leadership, teamwork is imperative in order to make it work. Yeah.
That is wonderful advice. We have several members today on this call that are district leaders or have been district leaders. And my goodness, I know we all feel that way, that teamwork is so important, regardless of your level of leadership, whether you're an area director partnering with other area directors, or division director teaming up to do trainings, or whether you're a trio working it out together. It is not something we do alone. This is something we do together. And if you'll pardon me, this is one of the things that I feel really strongly about in our clubs, that Toastmasters is not something we do alone. Nobody gives speeches to an empty room. We have timers, we have grammarians, we have evaluators, and this is how we grow. And if we don't take those roles for each other, nobody gets the opportunity to learn and grow. So this is not an individual sport. This is definitely a team collaboration that we're involved in.
Absolutely. And the officers of the club should have their own teams. So I am so proud of the Arthur Storer Toastmasters Club. They have a team that works with the Vice President Education, Vice President Membership, Vice President Public Relations. So those vice presidents have a team working with them. It's phenomenal. And again, we can do that at every level of our organization, encourage that teamwork. Yeah.
Absolutely. Lark, would you tell us a little bit? I'm not sure that everybody watching this really knows what the international president does for the organization. Could you just talk about the role?
Absolutely. So the international president does lead the board of directors and works hand in hand with the chief executive officer about the overall organization. The board of directors, region advisors, district leaders, club leaders are all volunteers. So none of us are paid for these roles. The chief executive officer and the world headquarters staff are paid. But the international president does conduct board meetings. And by the way, board meetings are on a monthly basis. There are 14 international directors. There are 5 executive officers. There's an international director from each of the 14 regions around the world. Then the 5 executive officers on the board of directors are the second vice president, the first vice president, the president-elect, the president, and the immediate past president. So there are essentially 19 board members, if you will. And the chief executive officer is an ex officio member of the board as well. So we have the board members, and we hold meetings every month with the executive officers and with the entire board of directors. There are committees. There are a set of committees that meet from the August board meeting until about the February board meeting. Then there's another set of committees that meet from February until August. So there are committees that do things like select the region advisors. So there's the region advisors selection committee. There was a policy committee this year. There was also a district leader committee this year. So there are those committees of the board. And by the way, committees can have past leaders, and those leaders can be past district leaders, past international directors, past region advisors. So those committees are not just composed of board members, but can be composed of other leaders around our globe. Those are the activities of the board. And they have 2 large board meetings where they are multi-day board meetings, and that is in the March timeframe and in the August timeframe. We used to have an in-person board meeting in March at World Headquarters in Inglewood, Colorado, and we had the board meeting in conjunction with the International Convention in August. Again, those used to be in person, and now those obviously are online. Hopefully they will be in person in the future. But we make the strategic decisions for the entire organization. There have been a lot of decisions this year about online clubs. There's been the decision to obviously this year again have an online international speech contest. But the board reviews the budget, the board makes financial decisions, the board literally makes strategic decisions such as pathways. I will tell you, the pathways was a decision of the board more than 10 years ago to develop an online educational program. So they do have a strategic plan and they do execute that strategic plan. It has been a 5-year plan, and we ended up doing an interim plan because of the pandemic. So the board does decide the strategic direction for the entire organization. That is their goal. That is what they are supposed to be doing. I mean, that literally is their job.
That sounds like a really big job. And at the same time, it sounds like there are some parallels between the board of directors and maybe the officer team in a club.
Yes, interestingly enough, there's a lot of parallels really from the club level to the district level and then to the international level. We certainly want every club to set a vision for their club. We want every district to set a vision for their district. And we as an organization at the highest level set a vision, but we do have strategic plans and we want every level again. We've got the club success plan, district success plan, right? The region success plan. And of course, we essentially have a plan at the international level as well. Again, we work hand in hand with the incredible World Headquarters staff. They are truly just an amazing group of individuals who, again, do that day-to-day work for the organization. When you contact World Headquarters, they're the ones who answer those day-to-day questions and do a golden job.
They do, and I've heard that those staffers at World Headquarters have their very own Toastmasters club.
They do, and I've attended 2 of their club meetings. So yes, they do. Absolutely. So it's a wonderful club, and it was a hybrid club before hybrid became popular. They met in person and they had a member from Florida. So the last time I attended, I was able to see the hybrid club meeting and see the Florida members speak. Yeah, so hybrid before it was popular.
Always innovating. All right, Lark, this is our precursor to our conference. So let's talk a little bit about conferences. Do you have a favorite portion of the district conferences? I know you've been to a lot of them.
Oh, that's a trick question, Madam District Director. I certainly should not say what is my favorite. I love conferences. And another fascinating thing, I attended a District 56 conference before District 56 and 55 split before I even became a member. So I attended a district conference before I became a member. I forgot all about that. I attended a World Championship of Public Speaking International Convention, and I attended a district conference before joining. I love conferences. And of course, one of the reasons is that I used to be a conference planner. So for Texas Instruments, I was a conference planner for their user convention conferences, their computer users conferences. And I was the coordinator for those. So, and they were about the same size as a Toastmasters International Convention. I've loved conferences all my life, I think. So yes, I love them. I love the keynotes. I love the educational sessions, love the contests. And of course, this year you had the district council meeting beforehand, which I think is golden. Margaret Page, who is your keynote speaker, the president-elect, who will be the president 2021, 2022. She is pure gold. You are in for a treat. So I'm so thankful that she is your keynote this year. So honored that she is your keynote. I love every aspect of conferences, and I love what you're doing to socialize during the online conferences. I've seen some social activities at other district conferences, online conferences around the world, and I'm so excited for what you have in store. By the way, I love the trainings this year and all of the social activities and the games that you've played. Any way to engage and interact with one another is golden.
We have had such a great time, and so much of the credit for our Tuesday night education series goes to our program quality director, Kathy Moore. And the conference this year would not happen without our conference chair, Darla Peak. We're super excited for the conference activities. So many good things planned. You mentioned Margaret as our keynote speaker, but she's going to do a lot more for us. She's showing up. She'll be around in multiple places, not just the keynote. And we're delighted to have her with us. We feel very fortunate to have grabbed her on the eve of her presidency, so to speak. And we're really excited. But we've got really some fantastic things coming up. Are you going to come out and disco with us on Saturday night?
I don't know about the disco. We'll see, but I certainly want to attend as much as I can. I'm supporting another district this weekend, but I'd love to be there. And again, talk about golden teamwork. There is no way that you can organize a conference without a team. So congratulations to the District 55 conference team, Kathy Moore, Darla, and all of your conference organizers and coordinators. Thank you. It does definitely take a golden team in order to orchestrate a conference.
It absolutely does. And I don't want to leave anybody out, but you know, the conference would not run without Jean Ramsey and her Zoom team. She is the Zoom master for our conference and our tech wizard. And we're so fortunate. Wendy Lord has designed our parade of banners, and you guys, that's going to be so cool. You'll want to come check out the parade of banners. It's going to be amazing. And you know, of course, we'll honor our brand new distinguished Toastmasters who have earned that award this year. And we're thrilled to have Danny Babick heading up that ceremony for us. So again, I'm going to miss people. I better stop now, but what an amazing conference team. And I am so looking forward to it. And we really appreciate, Lark, that you've taken this time to help us kick it off. And this has been delightful. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our membership before we call it a night?
I just hope that all of you will take advantage of all that Toastmasters has to offer. You know, Helen Blanchard said that if you get everything out of Toastmasters, you'll never get out of Toastmasters. So I hope that all of you will take every advantage of the communication and leadership opportunities in this organization. Whoever thought we would have a Zoom master position in this organization? And look at Jean Ramsey, who is the shining star for that and is training all of us. But Madam District Director, thank you for your servant leadership this year. Thank you all for your leadership roles this year. And please continue to go for the gold.
Thank you so much, Lark. Thank you for sharing your stories and your wisdom. It's been golden.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.